Hi, everyone. Do we have some DC Superhero Girl fans in the audience? Woo! All right. Well, please join me in welcoming Agnes Garbowska to the stage. Woo! All right. So, Agnes, what are you going to draw for us today?
Sorry, I didn't know how loud it was going to be, so I didn't know how to raise my voice. I'm going to draw Jessica Cruz from DC Superhero Girls.
Yay! I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
So, what inspired you to draw her, I guess, today?
I'm pretty sure she's my favorite character in the DC Supergirl universe. Ever since she appeared, I was totally stoked because I am a Green Lantern fan.
Oh, amazing.
I actually have a ring, which I totally forgot my jewelry this morning, but I actually have a Blackest Night ring, which I sport every single show except for today. Mm-hmm. And I got to draw pretty much my favorite thing, which is Green Lanterns not out of the bottle, spaced out.
Oh,
and that
amazing.
Is awesome.
I love that. I love Green Lantern, too. I usually have a ring on me as well. And we have some over there if you need an extra one. So tell us a little bit about your process, Agnes, as you sit down to draw DC Superhero Girls.
I always start off with a really rough sketch of the idea that I'm going to be drawing. And like right now, I just noticed, there's going to be no room for her legs. So you know what? You just erase it and you begin again. I always start off rough for that exact reason, because if you do need to make corrections, it is a lot easier to make corrections when you're not committed to a drawing.
Oh.
And all my little circles will become a person soon enough. And this is how you just start off. You start off really loose, get your concept, get your idea, and make sure you know kind of what you're going to draw before you even draw it. And just have fun with it.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about some of your backstory and like how you became an artist and when you started and, kind of the practice that you've kept to become what you are today.
Ooh, so I'm going to go down and tell you guys my origin story. So we're going to go into the past. So I'm actually born in Poland. Wonderful. I came to Canada at a really, really young age, but the problem was when I first immigrated, I wasn't able to go to school right away because I was getting all the paperwork taken care of. Okay. So my mom sat me down in front of the TV, gave me pads of paper, and went, "Entertain yourself." In all honesty, that was like the best thing my mom could have done for me.
Oh my
because
God.
I was hypnotized by every single thing I saw on TV, and I just wanted to draw it all. And that's really how I got started. And then I continued in school drawing, and then I went to school for drawing, and then I went to school for animation, realized I really hate animating, so that's just not for me. You know what? It's okay. If you go and you realize something's not for you, that's fine. You could change your mind. Okay. That's what I did. And then I realized I collect comics. Mm-hmm. I like comics. Wait. Why don't I draw comics? And then I just started pursuing storytelling in comic books, and I realized that is very much for me. That's great. Here I am now drawing pretty much what is my dream project is DC superheroes, because I've always wanted to draw an all-age superhero book.
Wow.
So I'm very happy.
That's awesome. And aside from Jessica Cruz, what are some of your favorite DC superhero girls to draw?
I like Harley Quinn.
Ooh,
because
me too.
She's so fun. She can never stay still, and you can't get bored drawing her because you're going to draw in a different pose every single time.
True.
Because she's Harley. She can't stay still. She's wacky. Totally. So she's really fun to draw. I like drawing Wonder Woman because as a character, she's like the furthest from me personality-wise, and I really like that about her. She's put together. She's not clumsy. She's very honest, which I'm very honest too, but she's very put together, and I'm more like Harley or Jessica Cruz, especially Jessica when she's learning to be a Green Lantern, because I'm very unorganized. I'm very socially awkward. I'm very just weird.
Oh, please.
But I accept
you're not.
it. It's okay. I like being weird. You know what, guys? Weird is good. And being different is good. And that's what Jessica Cruz, I think, really teaches us, is that it's okay to be different and it's okay to learn. Yeah. And you get good at your own rate.
I love that. So speaking on that, when you sit down to draw each of the DC superhero girls, you draw from their kind of inspiration, what they stand for. Like you said with Wonder Woman, it's kind of the courage, leadership, and then maybe Harley's a little more zany and, kind of fun and always unpredictable. Like, does that kind of go through your mind as you're sitting down to draw them?
Definitely, because the key thing, especially when you're working on comics, is you want to make sure everything you draw represents that character. So Wonder Woman, she's always stoic. So you have to think of poses. What's a stoic pose? How would she stand? Would she stand straight up? Would she stand with a hunch? What is a stoic look?
Yeah.
Jessica is very insecure, and I think that's why she's really fun to draw. Is so she's always kind of leaning forward. She's always kind of has her feet awkwardly placed, but that's her personality, and I think that's what makes it really fun working with the girls.
I love that. And now, when you're sitting down to work on doing the character specifically, do you do a lot of backgrounds as well, that kind of work, and kind of painting the whole landscape there for DC Superhero Girls?
Oh, yes. I have to do that because when you put a character in an environment, you have to know what your environment is.
True.
So if this would be a full page, I would not only lay her out, I would lay out every element of the background in blocks.
Nice.
So at least I know how she sits in the environment and how other characters sit in the environment, and make sure perspective makes sense. Because if the perspective doesn't make sense, you might get a little confused to what's going on, and I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And in drawing some of those like backgrounds and probably getting inspiration for those, do you kind of prefer maybe the cityscape or even the school, like Superhero High, or even just like the desert or something, like a vacation spot?
I actually like drawing shrubbery and bushes. I think they're just so much fun because the characters are so they have like certain shapes, and then when you draw greenery, it's anything but, and you could just
Sure.
go a little wild but still like, keep it put together because a bush has to look like a proper bush, a
Nice.
tree has to look like a tree. So I just have fun drawing nature.
Okay.
In past times in Superhero High, the girls actually went back in time,
Yeah.
and one of the time, and they went into the future as well. They were like all over the place, and it was really cool. And I got to draw like broken up buildings and stuff, and dang, that was
Ooh.
fun to draw. That made me happy.
That's got to be fun, right? It's kind of honing your craft a little bit, trying something a little different, and
Yeah.
adding to the whole environment and everything.
And I got to draw dinosaurs, so
That's
yeah.
fun. What's your favorite dinosaur to draw, Agnes?
A T-Rex is really fun.
Oh.
I really like Triceratops.
Okay.
So and I'm now going to jump to spaced out. Jessica kind of creates herself a little dinosaur to ride to kind of come in and save the day at one point, and she what is it called? It's the biggest dinosaur. Now I'm forgetting the name. It has a really big mouth. Spinosaurus? No.
Something like that, right?
Something. I can't believe I'm blanking on it.
drawing a
Sorry,
blank
guys.
too.
I haven't had a coffee in a little while, so I'm blanking on things right now.
Definitely need Starbucks, yes.
But yeah, she even creates her own dinosaur because I'm like, yeah, she wrote me with a dinosaur here too.
Love that. I love that they have such, different, animals or other, even pets, in the stories and things like that. Do you like drawing those, almost like the pet sidekicks of some of them?
Oh my God, I love it. Crypto is so much fun to draw.
I love Crypto.
I based it off a doggie I used to know. Her name was Abby.
Aw.
She was a cute pit bull, and she was I have two little Shih Tzus. She was my Shih Tzu's big sister, and I actually based pretty much Crypto on Abby, but different color. So, like, even the poses I remember her doing. So, yes, I loved working on that.
That's so great. That's awesome. So can you give a little bit of maybe some advice to some members in the audience that might be wanting to pursue becoming an artist in the future?
Ooh, yeah. One of my biggest advices is don't just draw the things you really like drawing and that you know you're good at. Draw the things that are really hard for you to draw, the things you're really bad at. So for me, I was always bad at drawing boys. So you guys want to know what I did?
What?
After drawing something I liked, I took the time to practice drawing the most ugliest drawings possible. But I tried drawing boys because I'm like, I have to know how to draw this.
Oh my goodness.
And you know what? Just over time, practicing and practicing, I just started getting better and better at it. And then when I went to drawing what I already know how to draw, I seemed better at that too, even though I wasn't drawing it as frequently. So
Wow.
draw everything and anything you can.
That's wonderful. So even things that are more challenging and maybe just things that you're not naturally inclined to draw, it's always good to practice, right? And build your
Yeah.
craft. Now, I noticed you're using some watercolors.
I
am. When did that kind of come into your artistry? When did you start to really leverage that skill set?
So I used to completely hate watercolors, and
Okay.
that's not even an exaggeration. It was such a hard medium for me because I tried to control it. And watercolors, you can't control it. You kind of control it to a point, and then you just got to let it do what it does. And that's when you have the most fun with it. And
Wow.
once I learned to have fun with watercolors, I got back into it. So I got back into watercolors now maybe 6-7 years ago, and I absolutely love it. It's so much fun.
That's amazing. And how do you like all this amazing response to the everybody is so into DC superhero girls right now, both in the comics as well as what's going on in the animated world, everything. Like, how are you enjoying that and just seeing that these characters really coming to life in all forms?
Pure happiness. Like, I'm serious when I say this is really a dream project for me. I'm like, I get to draw the coolest female superheroes in like this really cool style, and it's such a fun book because it has so much heart to it. Like, you relate to the characters and you want to know what's happening in the adventures they get on, and I love the reaction. I love hearing parents say, this is a comic my kids want to read, and it's something I could give them, and I'm like, sweet, we're doing our job, people, we got this.
That's amazing. I love that. And now when you're sitting down to do actual full pages, is it a little bit tricky when you have to do maybe multiple of the characters in like one, like, frame or something like that?
It's always tricky because you have to really think about how the characters interact and how they're going to interact panel to panel and where the word bubbles go. So there's a lot to think about. So I always start off really loosely, and really, if you look at the very first layout I draw, it just looks like standing bubbles. But that's how you figure out. It's tricky. You got to make sure everything makes sense. So I lay out everything all in one big go, not only one page, but I try to lay out several at a time so I could just take a step back and see, does this make sense? Does it read? Do I want to turn to the next page? And that's really like what I practice a lot, is making sure that I give you a reason to want to turn to the very next page of the book.
I love that, like keeping the story, the narrative going. It's like you're talking about, you're an artist, narrative storyteller kind of thing. And so what is a little bit of the process like working with the writer, say, on the series?
Ooh, I love Shay. Guys, I really love Shay. Shay is like
we do too.
The best. And it's really cool because Shay and I really developed a relationship working together. And like I just get the scripts and I interpret them. But if I have any questions, I just email the editors and they just make sure Shay gets it. And sometimes I go, Shay, am I drawing this right? This is what's supposed to be, right? But she's a really easy, wonderful writer to work with. And those are really the best projects, is when the writer and your editorial are just happy and they're like, yeah, do this. This looks great. And they give good advice when you don't draw something great. And it's okay, guys, if you don't draw something great, because it just means you just go back to the drawing table, fix it, and make it look great.
I like that. That's very inspirational. It's definitely take another stab at it or something and be open to, feedback and different thoughts. Do we have any questions from the audience for Agnes? Anybody? Yes, honey. Come on forward. What's your question?
What exactly got you into comic books?
So,
good one.
Funny story. It was one of my mom's friends, actually, that was trying to convince my mama that I should like him too. So his way of convincing me to like him was buy me comics. He had no idea what to get a little girl. And he's like, let's get this 8-year-old, very inappropriate comics at the time. But he didn't know. You walk into a comic store, you're like, oh, this looks cool. But man, I became hooked. So he bought me my very first comic. Then I went to the grocery store, and every time my mom started doing groceries, I was allowed to pick up another comic. And then slowly my comic collection grew, and I became obsessed. And then I pretended, so I was a very awkward kid, as I mentioned, and I didn't really have the nicest people in my school. So I kind of lied, which you shouldn't do, guys. I told my friends I never got allowance when they went out to get pizza, because I spent my entire allowance at the newly found comic book store, which I discovered. I'm like, comic book stores exist? What is this magic? So,
awesome world.
Discovery of a comic store is a beautiful thing. I felt like I'm like, is this Disney, but for comics? And yeah, so every week my mom was so sweet. She took me to a comic store, and my comic collection just grew and grew and grew.
That's amazing. All right, so as we wind down, is there one more question? Yeah, sweetie, do you have a question? Want to stand up? Okay, what is it?
How is DC made?
Oh,
amazing!
Amazing.
I'm here drawing on the stage for DC, guys. So it's just been phenomenal. Like, this is a cool place to be. I'm very happy.
Super fun. So I have one more quick question.
Yeah.
Which DC character have you not drawn yet that you would like to draw?
Ooh, Dexter.
Really? Oh, I love Dexter.
If you got, he's a very interesting kitty cat, guys.
All right.
I don't know why. I would really like to draw Dexter. He's
I want
like,
to see that. I want to see an Agnes Dexter.
yeah.
Let's make that happen, right?
We got to make that happen somehow.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to give away this amazing piece of art that Agnes has been doing up here. So I have one quick trivia question for you. Whoever raises their hand first that I see, I'm going to do my best to see the first one. If you answer it correctly, we're going to give it to you. All right, so the question is, what dinosaur does Agnes like to draw the most? Yes. Oh my gosh, she got both of them.
She got both of them.
Thanks, you guys. Help me thank Agnes for her time.
Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome. So
Thanks,
this
everyone.
is a little wet. Give it 5 minutes before you put it in anything.